Sa buhay pre, naiinis tayo kapag patuloy tayo na pumapalpak. Parang sinubukan na natin lahat ng makakaya natin, lahat ng strategies, lahat ng advice. Pero wala pa rin, napalpak pa rin tayo. So habang nag-go along ako rito sa 4 years ng self-improvement, nakagawa ko ng system pre para mabawasan yung mga mistakes and maiwasan na maulit sila uli. So nagawa ko siya with the help of these amazing experts. So, baling system na to, meron siyang 4 na nilalaman. And I will call these 4 things portals kasi Minecraft tayo. I-explain ko yung mga meaning ng mga to later in the video and kung paano nyo siya maa-apply sa buhay nyo. So, magsimula naman tayo sa una nating expert, which is si Alex Hormozy. Bali yung mga credentials nila kung gusto nyo i-check, nandun lang siya sa description para hindi masyadong umabot tong video na to. So, ito yung sabi niya.
After I lost everything for the second time in my career, that experience was so painful that I was like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep repeating these same mistakes. So I was like, I have to find a way that I can learn from this. And so within the next 3 months, I started my podcast. And the intention behind that podcast was that I would learn to document the things that I was doing and what I was thinking about, the problems that I was suffering from at that time. And an interesting thing happened. From that point until now, I haven't lost everything again. Making sure that I learned the right lessons from my mistakes has been, I think, one of the largest contributing factors to me being able to move forward at such a fast rate.
So, since more on business yung example niya, let me give you an example na pwede kong relate din dun sa explain niya para mas tumatak sa inyo yung point. Kasi I remember this one experience na I have nung grade 9 ako. So, bali nandito ako sa isang parang event. And yung event na to is yung JS prom namin. So, since JS prom nga namin siya, syempre natingin ako sa paligid ko. So, social, ang gaganda ng mga suot ng mga classmates ko. And lahat kami doon formal. Kaso, natingin ako noon sa paligid ko kasi nga, nung time na yon parang sinimulan nila yung free dance. So, ibig sabihin, pwede ka na makipagsayawan kahit kanino mo gusto. So, bali natingin ako doon sa paligid ko din. Hinahanap ko yung isang babae doon na gusto kong isayaw. Kasi, yung babae na yun, siya yung nagugustuhan ko and nalaman ko din na may gusto siya sa akin nung nabanggit sa akin ng mga classmates ko. And siya lang yung tipong babae doon na as in, naiiba and hindi ko talaga in-expect na siya yung magkakagusto sa akin kasi nga sobrang ganda niya as in, mapaphysical man yan. Kaya nung moment na yun, naghanap ako, tumingin ako sa paligid ko, then nakita ko na kasew-sew pa niya yung mga friends niya doon. So, parang nahiya pa ako lumapit kasi alam ko na, baka ako naisipin ng mga friends niya. Makalipas ng ilang minuto, nabigyan na ako ng pagkakataon. So, dahil doon, kinuha ko na yung opportunity and parang tumayo ako doon sa upuan ko. Then, naglakad ako papalapit doon sa kanya. And, as I approach her, parang sinabi ko sa kanya, alam mo makakatakas ka, no? O, diba ang corny? So, sinabi ko yun sa kanya. And then, may sinabi siya sa akin. Napatingin siya sa akin nun. Nakangiti siya. May crush ka sa akin nun. So, syempre naman, dahil nga napaka-confident kong bata nun, kaya tumingin ako sa kanya. Then sabi ko, harap-harapan with full confidence. Hindi. Gusto lang kitang siya. Wala, friendship nads. So, nung moment na yon, sumimangot siya, sinayaw niya ako ng onte, then habang hawak-hawak ko yung kamay niya, nakatingin ako sa paligid, naramdaman ko parang nawala yung pakiramdam sa kamay ko. Yung pala umalis na siya nun. Hindi ko na-realize na kapag may gusto kang babae, dapat sinasabi mo, hindi yung kagaya nung ginawa ko na gano'n. This is why mahalaga na whenever na meron tayong napapansin na failure in our life, we take note of them and then we figured out ways to avoid repeating them. Kasi kung hindi ko tinake note yung mistake na nagawa ko nung time na yun, baka ngayon, inuulit ko pa rin siya. As in, sasabihin ko lang dun sa nagugustuhan ko, ay, wala, gusto lang kita sayaw. Ano yun? Torpe ka, boy. Pero yung system na to is hindi lang naman for sa mga nabanggit ko sa inyo kanina na dating. Pwede rin to sa other things na gusto nyong i-optimize in life. Basta gusto nyo na maiwasan na ma-repeat yung same mistakes, that can apply to your any mistake na gusto nyong i-correct. So now, we'll first move on dun sa first actionable step dito sa system na to. And you have to do this actionable step kasi etong video na to, this won't make sense, pre. all of this won't make sense if hindi nyo man lang i-apply yung pinakaunang like papagawa ko sa inyo. So, bali yung kay James Clear yung gagamitin ko para dito. So, bali ang sabi niya kasi doon is like something related sa annual review. Pero hindi yung gagamitin ko. Like, i-modify ko lang siya in a way para like applicable siya dito sa system na like crinaf ko. So, medyo similar pa rin naman sila. Unang questions ay, what do my 100-year-old's version of self want me to do or achieve or optimize from the system? Or kung di nyo na-gets yun, habang nakahiga ako dun sa deathbed ko, ano yung gusto kong gawin or ma-achieve or ma-optimize para mamatay ako with a smile? And bakit? So, una sa lahat, bigyan ko muna kayo ng context dun sa questions na yun and then yung significance nila para like, syempre gawin nyo siya. Based on Alex Hormozy.
And I think time travel is one of the most useful frames for crystallizing lessons and getting insight into situations where you're like, I just don't know what to do. Because it's like your present state and your present condition with present influences and things that are going on in your head that are top of mind doesn't. But like future, you definitely will ask a different question about the scenario that oftentimes just erases the importance of it entirely.
So yung pinaka-point lang ni Alex Hormozy doon ay kapag like inisip nyo kung ano yung gusto ng like 100-year-old version of self, yung tipong nakahiga ka sa deathbed mo. So kapag inisip nyo kung ano yung parang decision niya sa sitwasyon or like sa mistake na gusto nyong i-correct, then that version of yourself can provide better solutions. Kasi nga, you are thinking long-term pre. Like for example, gusto ko talagang i-optimize yung dating ko. Sabihin ko sa future self ko, bro, anong pwede kong gawin dito sa sitwasyon na to? Like, nagtanong sa akin tong like nagugustuhan ko, like, crush ko ba daw siya? So, bali ako, if yung future self ko yung sasabihin ko na ganun, baka sabihin niya sa akin, syempre natural, alangan naman hindi mo aminin sa kanya eh. Kung gusto mo na maging kayo, syempre kailangan umamin kayo. You need to have the courage, bro. O diba? Gets niyo ba yung point? So, bale, it's like thinking kung ano yung parang message sa inyo ng future self nyo dun sa mistake na nais yung makorek. So, kung ganun man yung sagot ng future self ko sa akin, baka sa'yo, iba yung sagot niya. And that's just fine since iba-iba naman yung goals natin sa hinaharap. Pero ito pa pala, isa pa. Paano nyo nga ba malalaman kung ano bang gusto ng future self nyo nung 100-year-old version ng sarili nyo na nakaganon sa deathbed? Based on my experience, like, gumawa ko ng something na tinatawag nila na purpose statement. And yung purpose statement, it's just, parang, ano ba yung bagay na like, you will proudly die for? Ano yung parang, kapag nawala ka sa mundong to, or parang nasa deathbed ka na, nakahiga ka na ganun, like, mamamatay kang nakangiti kasi na-fulfill mo yung purpose mo na yun. Yung layunin mo kung bakit ka nabubuhay. So for me kasi, ito yung example ko, like, as I go along my life, iniisip ko, ano ba talaga yung mahalaga sa akin sa buhay? Ano ba yung gusto kong, like, ngingiti ako pag namatay ako? And as I, like, think about it, dumating na lang sa point, after several days, sabi sa akin ng utak ko, bro, I don't think na mamamatay ako na, like, I'm gonna be happy kapag mayaman ako ganun. I think I'm gonna be happy habang nandun ako sa like deathbed ko kung magagawa ko na maging honest dun sa mga tao sa paligid ko. For example, the girl that I admire, my friends, my parents, ganun. Pero if nalilito pa rin kayo rito, you can just ask it down below. Next ay some final note ko lang dito sa question na to. Pwede nyo rin kasing gamitin to kapag kunyari nawawala na kayo ng landas and gusto niyo talagang baguhin kung ano yung ino-optimize nyo. Kunyari nung una gusto nyo i-optimize yung social skills nyo, but now you want to optimize yung business nyo. Like, paano yung tamang bebenta para like, ma-maximize mo yung profits. So, ganun lang naman yung example, pre. Like, it depends on you, pre. You can just refer back to this. Now, yung second na question naman, pre, na pwede nyong i-reflect ay yung, what are the mistakes that I'm making which aren't helping me achieve what I want? And why? So, yung purpose lang naman ng question na to is parang malaman nyo ano ba yung mga like, mistakes na pwede nyong gamitin para dun sa sunod na portal na natin, which is yung question portal. And it can also give you an idea kung ano ba yung parang napapansin nyo na mali na ginagawa nyo, pero patuloy nyo pa rin ginagawa. So, quick example naman dun sa second question na to is ibe-base ko pa rin siya dun sa nagawa kong mistake na shinare ko kanina. So, kasi what are the mistakes that I'm making which are helping me achieve what I want? First of all, siguro like hindi ako naging honest, hindi ko pinakita yung courage ko. Like hindi ko sinabi dun sa babae na yun, sabi ko, oy, I actually like you. Corny. So I think yun lang naman pre yung mistake ko na like wala akong courage nung time na yun, wala akong lakas ng loob, and hindi ako naging honest sa kanya nun. Kaya, kumiwala yung kamay niya dun sa like, habang sinasayaw ko siya. Okay, now tapos ka na dun, pre. Like, sagot mo na yung mga questions na yun. Let's now move on doon sa question portal because dun yung mas ma-accelerate yung answers nyo and mahanap nyo yung parang better solutions para ma-resolve yung problem na meron kayo. So, I found this second expert, which is si Simon Sinek, and nakatulong siya for helping me realize din kung ano yung significance ng mga questions na ibibigay ko rito. So basically, yung pinaka-point ni Simon Sinek dito sa video na napanood ko, papakita ko sa screen, ganun. Merong parang kumakalat na disease nung time na yun sa nakwento niya. And tinatawag siya na Black Death of Childbed. So dun sa mga nakain, like, sorry muna kasi, bali yung mga babae daw na nagpapanganak nun, like namamatay sila 48 hours after giving birth. And yung mga doktor, nagtry sila na mag-research, like research sila ng research, ano bang cause na itong problem na to? Pero in the end, hindi nila na-realize na sila pala, yung mga mismong doktor, yung mga expert, yung cause ng problem. Kasi they don't wash their hands. So yung pinaka-lesson nyo doon is sometimes tayo yung problema. Therefore, kailangan natin na mag-take ng responsibility sa mga actions natin, sa mga mistakes natin. Dapat maging accountable tayo. Ganun lang din naman yung sinabi ng tatlong experts na to. Papakita ko na lang yung mga thumbnail. So, bali sa video nila is sinabi nila na yung pagiging responsible ay it involves yung pagiging honest natin sa sarili natin. And hindi lang yun, parang ina-accept din natin na responsible tayo sa lahat ng nangyari sa buhay natin. Like let's say for example, nung moment na yung sa nagugustuhan ko doon sa GS Prom. So, responsible ako na like sa nangyari sa moment na yun kasi hindi ko nagawang maging honest. Like, naging maganda sana yung outcome nun kung sinabi ko sa kanya yung totoo na I actually admire you gano'n. So why am I telling you these experts? Kasi they are essential because they reveal yung questions na nakatulong for the sa question portal, which is unang question ay what is the failure or mistake? And the third block of question, which is does it matter pre sa long term? And kung nagmamatter man to pre sa long term, and I take ownership nung pagkakamaling yun, ano yung mga ginawa ko na actions or like, paano ako nag-react doon sa situation na yun. So if yung mistake ay hindi mahalaga, like, you can have the option na tanggalin na lang yun dun sa like ownership system and hindi nyo nasayangan yung effort nyo para i-resolve pa siya. Then the fourth block ng question ay, how should I have reacted or navigated it? Then, how do I address the root cause step by step para ma-prevent ko na to from happening again? Some notes lang pala dito sa fourth block ng question na to ay dun sa how should I have reacted or navigated it. Kasi natutunan ko rin sa isang YouTuber which is si Jocko Willink na sometimes hindi tayo yung direct cause ng mistake na yun. Like let's say for example, sa buhay mo, naglalakad ka lang sa labas. Then nakita mo merong bata na umuubo. So hindi mo naman kasalanan pre kung bakit may ubo yung batang yun. But you have the control kung paano ka magre-react sa situation na yun. Like either since napadaan ka, iiwas ka, tumakbo bigla, or like magmamas ka, ganun. So either ganun yung gagawin mo para maiwasan mo na mahawaan. So it depends on you pre sa ganung situation. Then yun doon naman sa how do I address the root cause step by step. Like, yung significance lang nan is just, paano mo, parang magsisimula ka sa mababa para unti-unti mong ma-overcome yung mistake na yan or ma-resolvean siya. Kasi sabi kasi ni like Jordan Peterson, based sa video na to, if ever na may kinakatakutan ka, ganun, like, you slowly expose yourself dun sa fear na yun. Like, let's say for example, like, baguhan pa lang ako sa dating. Kasi naalala ko rin nung ako, like, grade 9. Like, yung sa JS Prom, hindi yun yung pinakauna kong approach sa babae. Like, siya nangyari nung doon ako sa kwarto ko sa bahay na to. Then, like, may nagugustuhan akong babae doon. Kasi nga, like, nagagandahan ako doon. So, yung pinakaunang step na ginawa ko para, like, mawala yung fear ko of makipag-usap dun sa mga babae is, like, chinat ko lang siya through Messenger. Sabi ko, can you be my inspiration? Cringe. So, ganoon lang yung ginawa ko doon. And, up until nung like, nagkita na kami sa face-to-face, nag-try na ako lumapit. Like, sabi ko, hi. Yun nga lang, din niya ako pinansin. I mean, kahit na na-reject niya ako nun, like, at least nagawa kong expose yung sarili ko dun sa fear. And for sure, sa mga susunod pa, magagawa ko ng masanay, pre. Sa buhay mo, pre, like think about anything na gusto mong ma-overcome na mistake sa bagay na ino-optimize mo. Like, there are times, pre, na parang ayaw mo na siyang gawin, pre, kasi natatakot ka na, ay, teka lang, baka ma-reject ako dito. Teka lang, baka pumalpak to, pre. Pero like, based on MJ Lopez, it's better na like, i-take natin yung first step or yung risk, pre. Kaysa naman na like, malaman natin na, ay, sayang, hindi ko man lang nagawa, pre. Like, sayang yung opportunity ko na yun, pre. Now, para ma-unlock yung ibang questions, nakakuha ko ng idea rito sa isang lumang video mula kay Simon Sinek. Bale, yung pinaka-point niya lang sa video na to is yung mga behavior natin, tayong mga tao, pre, sa mundo. Like, na-influensyahan to ng word na why. Why kasi ito yung parang inaas natin sa sarili natin, ay, ba't ko ba ginawa tong bagay na to? Bakit ko ba like, nilapitan tong si crush? Bakit hindi ko sinabi sa kanya na na gusto ko siya nung tinanong niya ako? So like, human behavior is influenced by the why, by the purpose. Kaya yung second block ng question natin ay, why is it a mistake? Kasi by asking that question, you will have the reason to avoid repeating the same mistake again. And yung fifth block ng question ay, why do I think this is the best solution? Then, dinagdag ko na rin doon yung, what do my highest self think of this solution? Or kung di nyo man mag-gets yun, like, hindi ba kayo magsisisi, pre, dun sa deathbed nyo, based dun sa solution na like, na-identify nyo? So, yung significance na itong fifth block of question ay, kapag alam nyo yung reason kung bakit ayun yung best solution, then ayun yung magsisilbing rason nyo, pre, para ulitin yung mga successful actions. And doon naman sa last hidden block ng question sa portal na to ay, who is vulnerable and should learn from this mistake? Kasi based on Simon Sinek, kailangan matuto tayo, per, na i-sacrifice yung sarili natin para sa ikabubuti ng iba. Now, it doesn't mean na ay magpapakamatay na ako kasi sinabi ni Charles PH na i-sacrifice din yung sarili. But what I mean by dun sa sinabi ko is like, you should be accountable, pre. Kasi like, accountability rin, pre, is it involves yung pagiging transparent mo sa like, pagkakamali mo. And sinishare mo siya sa ibang tao para matuto din sila dun. So, hindi lang ikaw yung nagbe-benefit, pre, pati rin yung like, tinuruan mo na other people. However, like, meron lang akong isang note dito kasi based on my observation lang din. Naalala ko kasi yung dito ako sa room na to. And gumawa ko ng video sa isang classmate na si Florence Manapat. So, si Florence Manapat, like, na-observe ko kasi nung nag-intera kami. Like, kasi nagkatabi kami dito sa isang restaurant nun. Then, habang nag-uusap kasi kami nun, like, nag-uusap kami about sa life, sa mga nangyari sa school. Habang, like, nakikinig ako sa kanya, there's something weird dun sa, like, boses niya. And it's not because dun sa, like, literal na boses niya, but it's because na meron akong naaamoy habang nagkasalita siya. So, since habang nagkasalita siya, like, naisip ko na, ay, teka lang, medyo may problem ata sa niya, like, breath niya. Para nakakaya naman kung ipo-point out ko ba nandito kami. So, ang ginawa ko noon, nandito na ako sa kwarto, like, gumawa ako ng video sa kanya. And like, sinabi ko dun sa video yung parang na-appreciate ko muna sa kanya, gano'n, I appreciate these things. Then, binanggit ko sa kanya yung feedback na gusto kong ipaalam sa kanya, which is yung about dun sa sa hininga niya. Syempre, di ko naman like share na lang randomly yung feedback niya. Like, I also shared yung experience ko para syempre like makarelate siya, maramdaman niya na hindi lang siya nakakaranas ng gano'n. Like, naranasan ko na rin yun syempre dati. And after ko magawa yung video na yun, in-upload ko siya dun sa FB. And shinare ko yun sa kanya. So makalipas ng ilang minuto, parang naghihintay ako ng chat niya dun sa Messenger. And then, nag-chat siya sa akin. Pero like, nakita ko yung chat niya kasi di ko pa binasa yung buo. Kasi naiya pa ako, ay teka lang baka, ay ba yung maging response nito? Like, paano kaya kung hindi niya matake na maayos yung advice ko? So like, makalipas ng ilang overthinking moments, binuksan ko na yung chat niya. Then nakita ko dun na Alex, sinabi niya, ay, actually, it's not because parang, ganito na talaga yung yung hininga ko. But it's actually na, I'm experiencing this parang problem with my teeth. Kaya nagkakos siya ng masamang amoy dun sa hininga ko nung nakausap mo ako sa restaurant. So, ba't ko ba shinare yung story na yun sa inyo? Kasi yung main point ko lang doon is sometimes yung mga like other people na bibigyan nyo ng advice or tuturuan nyo rito is like, they will contradict you. Parang hindi sila maniniwala or like, parang hindi agad nila like i-accept yung feedback na yun kasi like, meron silang stand about doon. So, if dumating man sa mga moments na ganun, pre, like, base kay Jocko Willink, learn to listen, pre, like, ibigay mo yung tenga mo, pakinggan mo yung posisyon nila, pre, instead of just like, judging them, instead of just like, parang, bigay-bigay ka lang ng mga feedback. So, one of the books na I just want to recommend, isingit ko na rin sa video na to, pre, kasi like, it has helped my life tremendously, pre. Yung book na yun ay yung How to Win Friends and Influence People ni Dale Carnegie. So, malaking tulong yung book kasi na-impress sa akin in the way na pagbibigay ko ng feedback sa mga classmates ko, sa tatay ko, or any people around me, pre. So, if you want to check out yung libro na yun, pre, like there is a summary sa YouTube. And ito, pre, last note ko na to, promise, dun sa 6 block of question. Kasi, natutunan ko rin kasi kay Jocko Willing na may mga circumstances na, kunyari, like, na-educate mo na itong tao na to, na vulnerable sa mistake na yun, about sa lesson na gusto mong matutunan nila. Yun nga lang, hindi sila nakikinig sa'yo. So, paano gagawin mo dun, pre? So, first of all, based on Jocko Willing nga, you must take ownership ng mistake na yun. Hindi mo sila i-blame na, ay, kasalanan niya na yun, pre, kasi hindi siya nakikinig sa akin. No, you shouldn't do that, pre. Yung way mo ng pag-approach ng situation na yun ay like, parang ikaw pa rin yung may kasalanan, pre, kasi you take ownership of that. Parang, you're gonna inform that person na, like, bro, I'm sorry kung hindi ko na-inform ng maayos sa'yo yung advice ko, kasi, like, hindi mo pa rin siya, like, ina-apply, hindi ka pa rin naniniwala sa sinabi ko. Like, how can I deliver yung advice ko in a much better way para i-take mo siya seriously and, yeah, magamit mo siya for your growth. You're not forcing them, pre. You're just asking for advice, paano nyo sila mas matutulungan ng maayos. So, gawin niyo yung mga yon, but make sure yung delivery niyo ng words niyo is magalang and respectful para maayos lang din yung take nila. So, nakatapos na tayo dun sa question portal. We can now move on sa learn portal. Pero if you want an example sa pag-apply ko ng like, questions na to, like a real life example, pre, you can just watch this part of video or you can go and skip dito sa timestamp na to. So, nung grade 10 ako nun, parang andito ako sa isang classroom and like, habang nandun ako sa classroom namin, papasok sa isipan ko yung thoughts regarding sa social life ko. Kasi as in, moment na yun, wala na akong mga friends. Hindi ako nakikipag-socialize na, like, focus na ako sa academics, focus na ako dun sa, parang, YouTube lang, gaya na itong ginagawa ko. So, ayun lang pinaka-focus ko nun, and napasok sa isipan ko nun, like, bakit walang nag-a-approach sa akin na, like, isa man lang classmate? Parang, hindi naman nila binavalue yung existence ko, bakit ganun? So, dahil doon, like, I feel like, nami-miss out ako nung mga moments na yon, and it's like I don't have someone na karamay ko sa growth, karamay ko dito sa like sa YouTube, wala man lang wala ko kasi ng interest. Pero kasi move on dun sa grade 11 life ko, bali nung nakarating na ako dun sa sa isang like panibagong environment, panibagong classmates, panibagong teachers, parang dun ko sinubukan na unti-unting kilalanin yung mga tao sa paligid ko. Doon ko sinubukan na like, instead na maghintay ako na merong mag-initiate sa akin ng conversation, why not, I will do it myself first. So that kapag pinagpatuloy ko lang yung paggawa nun, like, other people will also do the same to me. Even though na ako, like, hindi ako ganun kasama sa kanila sa mga like, trip nila. So, that's the thing that I've done. Because I've realized nung time na yun na, ba't naman nila i-reciprocate yung ganung bagay kung ako mismo hindi ko yung napapadama sa kanila. So baka inisip nyo love life na naman. So hindi, wag mo na yun. So from that experience na share ko sa inyo, yung mistake doon is like, I am expecting for other people to do things to me without even doing it to them. So in other words, it's like, I'm not doing sa ibang tao yung gusto kong gawin nila sa akin. Doon naman sa question na why is it a mistake? I think it is a mistake since like, how could I expect other people, like yung like mga classmates ko ng grade 10, alangan namang samahan nila ako sa YouTube, alangan namang samahan nila ako sa mga trip ko. Kung I don't even, like, hindi ako nasama sa kanila. Myself. Like, legit. Then doon naman sa third block ng question, does it matter in the long term? For me, nagmamatter siya in the long term kasi as I go along my life, syempre kailangan ko ng mga tao na kunyari, I want help in my growth. So, I want people na parang kino-constructively criticize nila ako, like sinasabi nila yung mga mistakes ko. But, hindi ako mabibigyan ng mga ganong feedback if I myself don't even initiate. Then, if it matters, if I take ownership, blah blah blah, basta ganyan. Ayun naman yung question eh. So, yun naman is, anong actions na ginawa ko? Like, hindi ko ginawa sa ibang tao yung gusto kong gawin nila sa akin. So, that's it. How should I have reacted or navigated it? Para naman dyan, I guess doing the opposite. Kasi yun lang din naman yun. Ano na yung solution? Like, do unto others what I want them do unto me. Na how do I address the root cause step by step. Syempre, like, common sense na din yun. Like, syempre, kunyari, mag-isimula ako dito sa sa bahay. Yan, sa bahay. So, sa bahay pa lang, like, kung gusto ko na ginagalang ako ng, like, father ko, gusto ko na, maayos kami nag-usap kapag may misunderstandings. Syempre, dapat ako naman, hindi ako yung parang, hindi ako ganun. Para, ma-ensure ko na the way rin na pag-treat niya sa akin during arguments is respectful. Kalmado yung, pag-deliver na message. Why do you think this is the best solution? Kaya lang din nung, like, na mga nakaraang questions, like, hindi nila ako lalapitan hanggat hindi ko rin sila ini-initiatean ng convo. And my highest self thinks na yung paggawa ng mga bagay na gusto kong gawin ng ibang tao sa akin is the best solution. Kasi based on my observation, based on my like experiences, yung example ko ng first part ng video na to, yung kung sinabi ko na crush ko yung yung babae na gusto kong siya, edi sana crinash back niya rin ako nun. Pero who knows? Yun nga, like, sayang yung opportunity na yun, di ba? Sasabihin lang sa akin ng future self ko na, ano ba yun, Charles? Sinayang mo yung moment. Like, dapat pinakita mo sa kanya kung gusto mong ipakita niya rin sa'yo yung pagmamahal niya. So, na-corny na siguro kayo. Pero ayun yung example ko dun. Who is vulnerable and should learn from this mistake? I guess it is everyone. Everyone kasi nga, like, lahat naman tayo, pre. Daran tayo sa moment na to na ina-expect natin na, ay, kunyari, dito ka sa bahay niyo din. Ina-expect mo na i-chat ka ng mga kaibigan mo. Ina-expect mo na imbitahan ka ng mga kaibigan mo. Bro, no one will do that, bro. Kailangan ikaw mismo yung mag-initiate. You must be the initiator. You must do unto them kung anong gusto mong gawin nila sa'yo. That's how I will answer these questions. And if sakali mong may contradictions kayo sa mga pinagsabi ko, like, sabihin nyo lang yun sa comments. So now let's move on, pre, dun sa Learn Portal. Doon naman sa Learn Portal, pre, I'm gonna go to some scientific stuff. Pero di naman to sobrang nakaka-overwhelm. You can still follow dito sa video na to. So based to kay Andrew Huberman, kasi natutunan ko na we have this term called neuroplasticity. And yung neuroplasticity, yung kahalagahan nito ay para maging reflexive or automatic na lang yung paggawa natin ng kunyari mga natutunan natin. For example, yung strategies na na-identify mo dyan sa like questions na sinagutan mo. Gusto mo na like maging automatic na lang yung pagiging honest mo kay crush, yung pagiging honest mo dun sa mga parents mo. Una sa lahat, let me give you a bit of context. Ano bang meron sa neuroplasticity, pre? So basically, pre, may dalawang part siya, which is i-explain siya ni Andrew Huberman.
The overarching theme of the neuroplasticity super protocol is that we first have to trigger neuroplasticity, and then we have to consolidate neuroplasticity. Triggering neuroplasticity involves heightened states of alertness and focus, generating a lot of repetitions. I'll walk you through all of these in just a moment. Consolidating neuroplasticity means actually making sure that the brain changes in the ways that we want it to. That literally the connections between these nerve cells, we call neurons in your brain, change and reconnect in the ways that are going to serve you so that going forward, the brain changes and the new behaviors can happen reflexively.
So, ayun naman yung sinasabi ni Andrew Huberman. And if you just want more information about sa neuroplasticity, pwede mo namang i-search pa sa YouTube like Andrew Huberman, neuroplasticity. So, lalabas na lahat ng mga video niya about doon, yung mga like learning videos niya. So now, pre, I'm gonna discuss to you yung mga gagawin nyo before, during, and after sa mga bagay like na gusto nyong matutunan, pre. So, una sa lahat, you have to be alert. So, ako nang bahala dun sa demonstration ng example din. Si Andrew Huberman na bahala mag-explain nung pinakagagawin.
The first step in the neuroplasticity super protocol is to get alert. There is simply no chance of triggering neuroplasticity if you are sleepy or if you are asleep. So you might ask, how do I get alert? Well, we're all familiar with the standard ways. Make sure you're hydrated. If you drink caffeine, you might want to drink caffeine. But today we're not going to talk about what you can ingest so much as we're going to talk about what you can do. Now, setting the foundation of your alertness is how well you slept the previous night and the night before that. Now, assuming that you slept well, and even if you haven't, there are a couple ways to increase your level of alertness. One of the best ways to access heightened levels of alertness that doesn't involve ingesting anything is a behavioral protocol simply using your breathing. You can do this essentially anywhere, anytime. If you find that your level of alertness isn't what you want it to be and you want to increase your level of alertness for sake of triggering neuroplasticity, you can simply do what we call cyclic hyperventilation. Cyclic hyperventilation involves taking about 10 to 15 very deep breaths through the nose and then passively exhaling through the mouth.
So dun sa cyclic hyperventilation, pre, parang ganito lang yung gagawin dyan. Like,
even as I'm doing that, I can feel my body heating up a little bit and my level of alertness going up. And that's because that pattern of breathing generates the release of things like norepinephrine and epinephrine, commonly also called noradrenaline and adrenaline, within both the brain and body.
So bali, gaya lang nung dinemonstrate ko sa inyo kanina, you can do that as the first tool, pre, para mas maging alert ka in case na inaanto ka, pre, sa moment na gusto mong i-apply yung strategy dun sa mga questions kanina. There are also two remaining tips na gusto ko rin i-mention dito. Bale, hindi ko na i-flash yung video, pero galing to dun kay Andrew Huberman. So basically, another way to get alert is get a good night of sleep. So hindi na ako magdi-discuss ng paano gawin yun, pero magbibigay ako ng few tips sa after section ng Learning Portal. And if you want more tips, siguro panoorin nyo na lang yung Andrew Huberman Sleep Podcast. And the third tip, pre, na makakatulong ay yung pagkakaroon mo ng reason kung bakit gusto mong matutunan ng isang bagay. Kasi I remember this one moment nung kakagising ko lang ng umaga, dito ako sa kwarto. Then medyo like inantok pa ako, like parang tatamad akong bumangon nun. Pero nung time na inisip ko na agad yung parang layunin ko sa buhay, yung purpose ko na makatulong sa milyong Pilipino. Yung moment na yun, nagkaroon ako ng alertness, pre. Parang nagising yung diwa ko, pre. Hindi naman yung sorry, gising na gising. Pero nagkaroon ako ng alertness, mas nagkaroon ako ng energy na bumangon para ma-accomplish ko yung task na yun and makapag-film ako ng video gaya nito. And yung dahilan kung bakit tayo mas nagiging alert kapag meron tayong reason when we want to learn something ay dahil nagre-release yung utak natin ng mga chemicals para mas maging focus and alert pa tayo. And kaya nga nang sabi ni Andrew Huberman kanina, makakatulong tong focus and alertness para matrigger natin yung neuroplasticity. So, nakadepende sa inyo kung ano yung reason nyo, kung bakit gusto nyo na matutunan yung strategy na na-identify nyo kanina. And another tip din, siguro sub-tip mula dito sa third tip na to ay how badly we want or need something ay dinidikta nito kung gaano kabilis natin matututunan yung strategy or anything, pre, if there is a serious incentive, pre. Like, let's say for example, naalala ko nung nandun ako sa isang parang resort nun. Bale, sa resort na yun, like, meron dong swimming pool. And sinet kong goal sa isipan ko na gusto kong matutong lumangoy bago kami umuwi dun sa mula sa resort na yun. Kasi we only have 2 days left para lang magstay dun. So gusto ko nang sulitin yung moment na yun. Kaya, doon nandun na ako, parang papalapit na ako sa swimming pool. Tititigan ko na yung lalim niya. Kaya, like, doon muna ako banda sa parang pinaka mababaw na part. And doon ako nag-practice na parang sanayin yung natutunan ko sa YouTube. Sabi nila, oy, para matuto kang lumangoy, first step, kailangan mo sanayin yung sarili mo, yung harap mo na nalutang, ganun, gumano ka muna. Dumating sa moment habang ginagawa ko siya, parang gumaganon-ganon ako kasi nga parang feeling ko malulunod na ako nun, di ba, ang OA. Kaya after several tries na ginagawa ko yun, yung feeling ko malulunod na ako, parang unti-unti ko natutunan yung sanayin yung sarili ko na pinapalutang yung harap ko, hindi ko na feeling na kinukuha yung baga ko. And that's the moment na like, nasanay ako, pre, na magsimula na gumanong-ganon. So that just shows na merong serious incentive, kaya madali kong natutunan yung paglangoy ng moment yan kasi feeling ko na makabatigok ako dun. And meron na akong dalawang natitirang araw para ma-practice ko yung skill ko na paglangoy. So a question na pwede nyong i-ask sa sarili nyo para ma-adapt nyo siya sa situation nyo ay, how badly do I want or need something? Meron ba na seryosong incentive or reason para matutunan ko to? So makakatulong tong 2 questions na to in order for you to accelerate yung pagkatuto nyo, especially if adult ka. However, pre, meron lang akong note dun sa binigay kong example. So, hindi naman kailangan dumating sa ganong situation yung pagkatuto nyo para lang ma-overcome yung mistake na yan. Just make sure lang, pre, na hindi yan life and death situation para naman hindi kayo matigok talaga nun. Kasi yung akin kasi sa resort, meron doon mga nagbabantay ng mga tao, kaya like, for sure, in case na man ako dun, merong magre-rescue sa akin. So, another tip na gusto ko rin i-provide dito sa alertness, which is yung kung hindi naman kayo like inaantok pero you're just too alert and gusto niyo mapakalma yung sarili niyo para like makapag-focus kayo na maigi, then there is also this tool na tinuro ni Andrew Huberman which is called physiological sigh. So yung makakatulong to kasi ito yung pinakamabilis na paraan para mapakalma niyo yung sarili niyo, and si Andrew Huberman na bahala sa explanation nun.
There's a pattern of breathing called the physiological sigh that involves 2 inhales followed by a long exhale that, at least in my awareness, is the fastest way to calm yourself down.
Then sa demonstration, parang ganito lang gagawin nyo. You're gonna take a long, deep inhale sa nose nyo. Then followed by short inhale, parang pahabol na inhale sa ilong nyo ulit. Then after nyo magawa yun, you're gonna do a long exhale sa mouth to the point na wala ng air yung sa lungs nyo. So parang ganito siya.
Just 1 to 3 of those physiological sighs can bring you from a state of intense anxiety and stress to very, very calm. The reason for that is that your lungs are not just 2 big bags of air, it's actually millions or hundreds of millions of little sacs. And when we get stressed, we start to run out of oxygen because those little sacs start to collapse. We also start to build up a gas in our nervous system and body called carbon dioxide, and that adds to the stress response. When you do that big inhale through the nose and then a second brief inhale at the top, you reinflate those little sacs in the lungs. And then when you do that long exhale, you get rid of a lot of carbon dioxide, which makes you feel less stressed. And it turns out that long exhales also slow down your heart rate. So whenever you get stressed, do a physiological sigh.
The last 2 tip na gusto kong ihabol dito sa kapag very alert ka and gusto mong mapakalma yung sarili mo ay una sa lahat, you have to get away from an environment na medyo distracting. Kunyari, like maraming ingay. Or just, in fact, maraming distractions. Basta, you have to relocate sa isang lugar na tahimik lang. Because if you are very alert, madali kang madidistract dyan. Since base dun kay Andrew Huberman, hindi tayo magiging magaling sa pag-suppress or pagtigil ng action at pag-activate ng tinatawag niya na no-go pathways. So if you want more information dito, you can just watch this video. And the last tip is yung sa yung pagkain ng carbohydrates para mapakalma natin yung sarili natin. Kasi based on Andrew Huberman, merong tinatawag na tryptophan, yung carbohydrates na nagdudulot sa atin para makaramdam tayo na parang inaantok. Pero make sure nyo lang na hindi masyadong marami yung kakainin nyo, mapa-carbohydrate man yan, or regardless, kahit anong pagkain, pre. Dahil kapag kumain daw tayo ng marami, napupunta yung blood doon sa bituka natin. Yun yung reason kaya inaantok tayo pagkatapos natin kumain ng heavy meal. So yun lang naman, if you just want yung pinaka-deep explanation doon, you can watch Andrew Huberman's video about learning neuroplasticity. Like, you can just search it up on YouTube or some summary sa websites if you want to. So the next thing para magkaroon ng neuroplasticity is you have to be focused. I-explain to ni Andrew Huberman and ako na bahala sa demonstration.
When we focus, it's the consequence of a particular neuromodulator in the brain. A neuromodulator is just a chemical, and that chemical is called acetylcholine. And when acetylcholine is released, it goes to the specific locations in the brain where the learning will occur and make sure that it marks those nerve cells, those neurons, so that later in sleep or deep rest, those particular cells rewire. So you're probably asking, how do I get focused? Well, first of all, none of us should expect ourselves to immediately be focused just because we decide we want to focus and learn. Rather, just like you have to warm up a car, warm up your body before you exercise, you have to warm up the neural circuits for focus. And a great way to do that is actually to use your visual system. Most people don't realize this, but your cognitive focus, meaning your mental focus, follows your visual focus. So a simple tool that you can use is if you're going to learn something on a computer screen or from a book, or even if you're going to learn by listening to somebody, take a couple of minutes beforehand, sit down or stand, and focus your visual attention on one location.
Let's say for example, nandito ka sa isang room. So sa room na to, pinapractice mo yung communication skills mo para maayos mo ma-deliver yung message mo as a leader. So bago mo gawin yun pre, a much better way para mas makapag-focus ka and matrigger mo yung neuroplasticity is to, like for example, stare at something na malapit dun sa lokasyon mo. Either yung parang, kunyari, alcohol, so tititigan mo yung parang specific location niya. And pag tititigan mo yun pre, like natural lang na mawala yung mata mo, yung focus mo rito sa specific part ng alcohol na to, parang nag-wonder ka, pero ibalik mo lang dun sa specific part niya, kahit na nag-wonder siya, ibalik mo lang. Ganun. So, ganun lang naman yung gagawin mo. Same lang din if ever na sa specific area ng room ka titingin. Like, let's say for example, itong switch dito. Then, kada yung mata ko is gumagano-ganon, ibabalik ko lang siya dito sa bagay na to.
Just simply doing that for anywhere from 15 to 60 seconds will greatly increase or warm up the neural circuits in your brain that are responsible for focus. And what you'll find is that when you turn to the specific thing that you're trying to learn, whether or not that's information that you're reading or listening to, even if it's a motor skill, if you're trying to learn how to dance or a particular type of sport or something of that sort, you'll notice that your level of focus is heightened. And that's because the neural circuits for focus have been warmed up by this visual exercise.
Then the last two tips na gusto ko lang ihabol dito sa focus part ay pwede nyo rin i-incorporate yung meditation. Kasi like, dati, when I was in my room, I'm like, napapansin ko na madali akong ma-distract. Parang, napapansin ko na, nabubuksan ko na lang yung FB. And hindi ko alam kung anong pinagawa ko. Like, scroll ako ng scroll, automatic na lang siya sa akin. Pero nung time na, in-incorporate ko yung meditation, like, nagiging aware ako. Kada, nadidistract ako. Kada ginagawa ko yung mga bad habits, mapaano man yan. Basta, any bad habits na naisip nyo. And ganoon din, makakatulong to every time na nadidistract kayo habang ina-apply nyo yung strategy mula dun sa mga questions kanina. And ito pa, like, huwag nyo rin kalimutan to, make sure na yung environment nyo is not very distracting, parang hindi kayo ma-distract. Kung may parents kayo, like, sarin nyo muna yung pintuan, inform nyo sila. And all of this is just common sense. Just ensure na walang distractions para full focus. And yung pinaka-last note ko rito sa before section, the way na ang ginawa ko para makapag-save ako ng time is kinumbine ko na lang yung breathing techniques kanina and yung visual focus. So basically kapag nakafocus ako sa isang location na malapit sa work ko, parang ginagawa ko rin yung double inhale, long exhale kapag very alert ako, or di kaya naman yung long inhale then passive exhale kapag inanto ako. So that's a great strategy to save time and hindi na separate yung i-spend nyo para dun sa dalawang protocols na yun. So since hindi ko alam yung gusto nyong matutunan, like you can ask yourself this one question, which is paano nyo ito ma-apply dun sa mistake na gusto nyong ayusin or sa skill na gusto nyong matutunan. Kasi I can just give you a plain advice. Kailangan ma-adapt nyo siya sa sarili nyong situation and you can do that by answering this question. Now we're gonna move on dun sa during na part. So during learning, ano gagawin nyo habang pinapractice nyo yung honesty skills nyo, yung dating skills nyo, or anything na gusto nyong i-practice. So baling first thing na need yung gawin dito sa section ng during part, kailangan ituon yung attention nyo or yung focus nyo doon sa nais nyong baguhin, doon sa strategy na nais nyong i-apply, or anything na kailangan nyong matutunan. Let's say for example, gusto kong ma-avoid yung mistake na paggawa ng mga weird na mannerisms sa isang social event. Kunyari gumagano'n-ganon ako, kinakagat ko yung kuko ko. So gusto ko siyang ma-avoid. So I'm gonna pay attention or my focus dun sa mannerism ko na yon. Bali parang mag-focus ako na maigi kada nararamdaman ko na parang naganon ko na yung daliri ko. So in that way, malalaman ng nervous system ko kung ano ba yung dapat baguhin, yung dapat mistake na tanggalin, and ano yung successful action na dapat ulit-ulitin, which is yung hindi na pag-ulit ng mannerism na yun. Then ito, one bonus thing is, if yung nais yung matutunan or yung mistake na nais yung ma-overcome is something related sa parang ears, parang napapakinggan nyo. Like you can close your eyes para mas matuon yung full focus nyo dun sa pinapakinggan nyo. And that's based on Andrew Huberman, not mine. You can watch his videos nga. Doon lang pala, if ever na may ilan sa inyo na magsabi na, ay, what if I got ADHD? So, wala akong alam about doon. Pero like, there is a video on Andrew Huberman's channel regarding dyan. So, baka makatulong yon for your focus. So now let's move on sa second thing na need yung gawin sa doing section, which is you have to generate yung repetitions. Bali, explain ni Andrew Huberman yung kahalagahan nito.
When you do something over and over and over again in a fairly short period of time, your nervous system recognizes that and it acts as a trigger for neuroplasticity, for those neural circuits to change so that later, after the neural plasticity has been consolidated, you can perform that thing reflexively without even having to try. Now, it's important that as you generate repetitions, you follow a simple principle. And the simple principle is to generate as many repetitions as you safely can in a given unit of time. And I say safely can because for certain things like motor skills, if you start doing things too fast, you can injure yourself or worse. But for most things, like learning math or learning a language or learning any type of new information, you want to push yourself in order to generate as many repetitions in a way that almost seems like you're a little bit hurried. That bit of hurry or that sense of hurry actually leads to a further increase in focus and alertness. And so while generating repetitions can feel like a little bit of a race against time, that's actually the state of mind that you want to access in order to trigger plasticity.
Sa demonstration, like, yung pinaka-example ko nung unang part ng video na to, which is being honest towards girls. So, bale, ayun yung pangalawang time ko na I failed to become honest in showing yung feelings ko in someone. And nung moment lang ng like, fast forward a few years, medyo napapractice ko na maging honest dun sa like nagugustuhan ko, dun sa parents ko. And it took me like several repetitions para magawa yun. So, you have to actually get the reps in. You have to practice in order for you to overcome the mistake that you want to overcome or to learn the thing that you want to learn. Next thing na need nyo namang malaman dito, like you can combine yung generating repetitions, the next principle, which is expect and embrace errors.
It goes without saying that if you're doing a lot of repetitions of something that you're trying to learn and you haven't learned it yet, you're going to make errors. Most of us think of errors as a bad thing, but errors actually signal to the rest of your nervous system that something needs to change. Think about that. It makes perfect sense. If you can already do the thing that you're doing, there's no reason why your nervous system should have to change. So anytime you make an error, you should know that on the next repetition, you are in a heightened level of focus and alertness compared to the trial in which you made the error. What that means is that every time you make an error, it's an opportunity to be more focused and more alert on the next repetition, or what I call a trial. So as you generate repetitions, and remember, it's as many repetitions as you can per unit time, expect and embrace those errors. They're actually helping you learn faster.
The next naman ay yung tinatawag ni Andrew Huberman na micro-rest intervals or gap effects.
When we are trying to do something and we're focusing very hard and we're making errors, we're doing all the right things to trigger plasticity, if every once in a while at random we just stop and do nothing, we stop performing the activity, we stop trying to learn for about 10 seconds, the areas of the brain that are involved in learning, such as the hippocampus and the neocortex, the neurons in those areas continue to fire in the same ways that they did while you were trying to learn, except that they do it 10 times faster. In other words, when you insert these little 10-second micro-rest intervals, you're actually generating more repetitions, not fewer. So the key thing is that these micro-rests be very brief, about 10 seconds or so, that they are random, that you don't know when they're going to come. So you can just, every once in a while, just stop what you're doing, you can keep your eyes open or closed, and then just wait and then get right back into the learning bout. These micro-rest intervals have been shown to greatly increase the speed and depth of learning, meaning the rate that you learn and how well you remember the learned information.
Then yung next tip naman na need nyo malaman sa during section ay manggagaling pa rin kay Andrew Huberman.
The brain has a reward system, kind of like a currency or a money. And the main currency or money by which our brain rewards us is a molecule called dopamine. Dopamine is often talked about as a molecule that makes us feel good, but the real effect of dopamine when it's released is to make us feel more motivated, more focused, and more alert on whatever it is that we're doing. So you can imagine why this is a very powerful chemical for inducing neuroplasticity. Now, dopamine can be released in the brain in response to a tremendous number of different things. For instance, if we're very hungry and we eat, we experience dopamine release. If we are thirsty and we have something to drink, we experience dopamine release. However, dopamine can also be released by what we call subjective understanding, meaning our belief about whether or not we are on the right track or whether or not something that we're doing is good for us. So as you embrace learning, as you lean into these bouts of learning, you're generating repetitions, you're focused, etc. Every once in a while, if you do something correctly, or even if you have an error, you should tell yourself mentally that you're doing a good job. Believe it or not, that will cause the release of a little bit of dopamine and will further reinforce the motivation for further learning.
So a quick real-life example na pwede kong i-share in regards dito sa principle na to ay, naalala ko nung dito ako sa second floor namin, then nag-ask yung nanay ko, kamusta ako? Then, nabanggit ko sa nanay ko na ay, Mama, yung binigay niyo po pala sa aking book ni Shinki Tan is binigay ko po sa isang classmate. So, nagtanong yung nanay ko, like, binigay mo, pinahiram. So, ko, pinahiram po pala. Kasi like, bigay talaga sa akin yun ng nanay ko and nagulat naman siya kasi nga ba't ko naman bibigay ko kung kani-kanino. After nun, like makalipas nung ilang araw, like nagkaroon ulit kami ng call ng nanay ko. And then, no moment na yon, nabanggit ko sa nanay ko na, Ma, hindi ko lang po pala binigay sa classmate ko yung libro na yon. Hindi ko po sa inyo kasi nabanggit na yung classmate ko na yon, isa mo na I admire po. Dahil nagawa ko makapagsabi ng totoo sa kanya, nasabi ko na, ay, ito palang binigyan ko, hindi ko lang siya normal na classmate. Someone that I actually admire. So, naging honest ako noon. And yung positive emotions na associated with it, nakatulong yun para sa susunod ay magawa ko maging honest sa iba pang mga bagay na like, gusto kong magitin sa nanay ko. Then, siguro yung other explanation ay si Andre Huberman na lang yung bahala.
Now, of course, when we do something correctly and we're rewarded for that externally, when someone says good job, or we get a trophy, or we get a great grade, or we get some sort of external reward, dopamine is also released. But it's very powerful to be able to control the patterns of dopamine release. And the most powerful pattern of dopamine release for learning is what's called intermittent reward. If you want to keep learning what you're learning, you want to keep generating repetitions, you want to stay motivated, you should reward yourself subjectively. But you should do that intermittently and somewhat randomly. Just every once in a while, you feel like you want to reward yourself, don't. And then maybe on the next trial, if you do it correctly or you don't, maybe then you reward yourself. So keep it random. And in doing that, the neural circuits for reward and the neural circuits for focus and the rest of the features that are important for learning will just naturally unfold.
And before we move on dun sa after na section, always remember to answer this question, which is, paano nyo nga ito ma-apply sa mistake na gusto nyong i-correct para suitable siya dyan sa situation nyo. So the first thing na kailangan nyo malaman sa after section ay yung paggamit ng NSDR after nyong gawin yung pag-correct dun sa mistake or di kaya naman after nyong matuto ng skill na gusto nyong matutunan. So ganun pa rin explain siya ni Andrew Huberman.
The rationale for this is the following. Earlier, I mentioned that neuroplasticity is a two-phase process. In the first phase, you trigger the plasticity, focus, alertness, generating repetitions, and so forth. But the actual rewiring of nerve connections that underlies the learning and allows you to do the learned thing reflexively in the future without having to work so hard, that occurs during states of deep rest. So NSDR is an umbrella term for anything that brings your brain and body into a state of deep rest. It could be meditation, it could be breathing. Ideally, you'll do the NSDR within the first hour following a learning bout, but really any time of day that you do NSDR, it's going to benefit faster and deeper learning.
The way na na-apply ko tong NSDR na to in my life is every time, ano sa kwarto ko, like before I go to sleep, like ayun yung nagsisilbing bedtime ritual ko. So pina-play ko yung 10-minute NSDR na na-download ko from YouTube and I will just lie down and listen dun sa NSDR na yun and I will follow kung ano yung pinapagawa niya. Then, as soon as I realize it, like nakatulog na ako. Pero it doesn't matter naman kung makatulog man ako habang ginagawa ko yung NSDR practice. Because I've learned na makakuha ko pa rin yung benefits kahit na mangyari man yun. Some additional notes lang na idadagdag ko dun sa NSDR is meron pa siyang other alternatives na pwede nyo gawin. And yung unang alternative ay you can perform a 90 minutes or less na nap. Hindi naman kailangan kompleto yung 90 minutes. Basta 90 minutes or less. And also other alternative ay just don't do anything after your learning session. And what I mean by don't do anything is like don't think about anything. Like just let your mind wander kasi yun yung other alternative based on Andrew Huberman. And these alternatives can still increase yung rate, yung bilis, and yung lalim ng mga natututunan nyo. And ito pa is pang last alternative ay yung tinatawag ni Andrew Huberman na self-generated optic flow. So ang pinaka-meaning lang nun is like gagawa ka ng isang activity kung saan yung mga bagay sa paligid mo is nagpapass sa eyes mo. Like for example, yung pagtakbo. Pag tumakbo ka, di ba, sa labas, like yung mga bagay sa paligid mo is nagpapass. Ganun lang yung point doon. Like, hindi lang naman sa running, paano man yan, cycling, pagbabike. Basta, yung mga bagay is nagpapass sa visual field mo, then that's called self-generated optic flow. Pero, just make sure na you're not thinking about anything. Just let your mind parang lumipad kung saan-saan. And you'll just do it like for like 10 to 20 minutes, ganun. And if you want more evidence for that, you can just watch Andrew Huberman's video nga sa mga learning and neuroplasticity.
The ninth step in the neuroplasticity super protocol is to get quality and sufficiently long deep sleep as many nights as possible. If you're trying to learn anything, you're going to want to do all you can to try and access deep, long sleep the following night. And combined with the NSDR, the non-sleep deep rest protocols that hopefully you're doing during the day, that will combine to give you the fastest and most complete learning, neuroplasticity.
And yun, based on this sinabi ni Andrew Huberman, sleep matters. So, if you still don't know the importance of sleep, like marami siyang video about dun, but I'm just gonna give you like quick tips to improve your sleep kasi it's based on my experience. Like, I remember kasi back then, like, andito ako sa room ko nung grade 9 and every time I try to close my eyes, like kasi hindi pa ako nakakatulog for like few hours, like gising yung diwa ko for few hours. And there are also some nights na malalaman ko na lang na kinabukasan na. Ano ba yan? So, dahil doon, like nainis ako sa ganong state, like ayoko nang maranasan yung ganon, nakakasawa na, like sino ba namang may gusto na ganon. So, I tried to take it seriously. So, nanood ako ng like video from YouTube. And I'm thankful for Andrew Huberman since siya yung like unang nag-pop up sa akin and pinanood ko yung mga podcast niya regarding how to improve your sleep, why should you sleep, and yung pati rin podcast niya kay Matthew Walker. So, ginamit ko yung mga tips nila and ito yung few things na tumatak and ina-apply ko rin hanggang ngayon. So, unang-una is like, nung sinusubukan ko na na-improve yung sleep ko, like sa gabi, nag-set ako ng intention or like bedtime schedule, which is like, anong oras ako matutulog and anong oras din ako gigising. So, una sa lahat, bakit nga ba mahalaga na mag-set ng bedtime schedule? Kasi based on Andrew Huberman, meron tayong tinatawag na circadian rhythm sa loob ng katawan natin or internal clock. So, ito yung nagre-regulate kung anong oras tayo matutulog, anong oras tayo gigising, and ito rin yung tumutulong para ma-release yung mga hormones sa katawan natin na makakatulong for better sleep and pag-function ng katawan natin. Makakatulong yung pag-maintain ng consistent na bedtime schedule since inaakma niya yung circadian rhythm natin doon sa time na sinet mo. Kaya magiging madali na lang sa'yo na makatulog at magising naturally. And if gusto nyo pa ng malalim na explanation about dyan, then merong podcast nga si Andrew Huberman regarding sleep. However, siguro marami mag-sabi dyan, oy, teka lang, what if like life circumstances, hindi ako pwede ganito, matulog na ganito, like hindi ako pwede maging consistent. So maraming ganun. Pero I think it's just normal kung maranasan nyo man yun. Pero strive to sleep well for most nights. Kasi ganun yung ginawa ko dati. Like, kasi hindi man naging perfect. Like dito sa kwarto ko, like nagtry ako na matulog ng, kunyari, 9 p.m. So, pag magigising ako ng 5 or 6 a.m., then there just comes this day na, ay, teka lang, merong pa event si kapitbahay. Ay, teka lang, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Kahit na may ganung mga events, like, I still strive to sleep well sa mga sumunod pa na gabi. Pero if in case nga, ganun sa situation mo, like, araw-araw may holiday, like, as in, nasisira yung tulog mo palagi, like, strive to find a way to ensure na maayos yung tulog mo. And meron kang, like, schedule na fina-follow kahit paano. Pero ito, some, like, pahabol ko lang, kasi nga, what if hindi yung events yung reason kung bakit ako nagpupuyat sa gabi. Kasi I remember back then, nandun kami sa probinsya. Sa kwarto na yun, bale, andun ako sa higaan, nakahiga. Then yung tatay ko is nakahiga rin nun. And syempre, since yung ritual namin is dapat sa gabi, matulog na kami. Ako naman, syempre, magtataklob ako ng kumot. Then, matutulog ako, pipikit ko yung mata ko. Tapos papakiramdaman ko kung may gising pa ba sa paligid. Kunya-kunyari lang ako tulog nun. Kaya buksan ko yung mata ko, kukunin ko yung cellphone ko sa gilid. Pagka gano'n ko, like, MLBP. So, ayun yung naging reason kung bakit, like, hindi ako makatulog ng maigi. Like, nadidisrupt siya gawa ng addiction ko sa MLBP. So, if ayun man yung some reason, like, meron kang addiction sa isang bagay, like, video games, like, ginagamit mo yung phone mo, or gadgets, or like, you're just doing something na that you can stop doing, pero ginagawa mo pa rin, then, we'll address that, pre, kasi it might be na you have some addiction, and I'll just cover it in my future mental health video. Susunod ko namang tip is based lang din to dun sa na-share kong story about dun sa pag-ML ko. Habang nasa kumot, kasi nakaganoon ako like nag-ML. Like, maliwanag yung phone ko. And isa rin kasi doon, natutunan ko kay Andrew Huberman na kapag maliwanag yung like device, gadget mo, or like anything, tumingin ka sa maliwanag, that can actually disrupt your sleep. Kasi sinisignal nun sa utak mo na ano ay maliwanag pa. So, kailangan ko mag-release ng mga chemicals para maging alert tong tao na to. So, I don't want to go too deep in science. You can learn about that in Andrew Huberman's podcast nga. But of course, syempre, kino-consider ko rin yung mga situation. Like, may times pa rin sa buhay ko na nilalabag ko to. Like, hanggang ngayon nilalabag ko to. Kasi, sa gabi, gumagamit pa rin ako ng gadget. Pero, ang ginagawa ko is gumagamit ako ng warm na sunglass. Like, yung basta warm na sunglass siya, parang shades, ganun, sinusuot ko siya. Then, nilo-lower down ko yung brightness ng tablet ko. Then, doon ako gumagamit ng tablet. Kasi, minsan masikas ako ng school stuffs or di kaya naman like sa YouTube, ganun. So, ayun yung ginagawa ko to reduce yung negative effect ng blue light sa gabi. And second tip din related din sa liwanag ay based on Andrew Huberman, iwasan din natin yung mga maliliwanag na overhead lights, yung mga nasa kisame pre, from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Kasi nga nakaka-disrupt siya ng sleep cycle natin. And ito yung pinaka-last tip ko, which is nalala ko kasi nung nakahiga ako, then mararamdaman ko na lang na nagigising ako kalagitnaan ng gabi. Either like naiihi ako nun or like nagigising lang talaga ako, like namumulto. What's happening, guys? Sabi ni Andrew Huberman, like, experiencing those things ay normal lang. Hindi nyo kailangan sampal-sampalin yung sarili nyo kapag nagising kayo sa kalagitnaan ng gabi because that's normal. As long as di siya madalas and matagal, na yung tipong naapektuhan na yung pagbalik nyo sa tulog, normal lang yun, pre. My way of dealing with this situation ay nalala ko kasi kagabi, like nagising din ako kalagitnaan ng... And since nagising ako, like, ang ginagawa ko is hindi ako natingin sa oras, una sa lahat yung oras. Kasi kapag nakita ko yung oras, like, possible na magkaroon ng anxiety, ay, ano ba yan, ganitong oras, ba't ako nagising dito? So nakaka-cause siya ng anxiety, which then leads me para mas maging alert and hindi makatulog. Then pangalawa is iniiwasan ko yung any light, pre, kasi I learned also from Andrew Huberman na if you view a light, kahit katiting lang na light yan, nakita mo like yung parol ng kapitbahay na ilaw-ilaw, then tititigan mo siya, syempre sensitive yung mata mo dyan and sensitive rin yung utak mo dyan, kaya magigising ka. So avoid those, like ginagano ko talaga yung mata ko sa gabi kapag nagsi-CR ako para hindi pumasok yung liwanag, or like iniwasan ko lang, ayaw talaga tumingin sa liwanag sa kalagitnaan ng gabi. And also, I would like to add dun, I also do some calming activities gaya ng physiological sign na nabanggit ko kanina. Kasi nga, it's the fastest way to calm yourself down. Ina-apply ko siya pag nagigising ako sa kalagitnaan ng gabi. And yun lang ginagawa ko. So sa last part na itong after section, based nga kay Andrew Huberman, if you can't perform all of these things, yung mga sinuggest ko, yung mga sinuggest niya, you must ensure these 3 things kasi mas mahalaga to. And that is, kailangan maging alert kayo, kailangan maging focus kayo, and eventually, kung hindi man kayo makatulog ng maigi, after nyong aralin yung isang bagay or i-practice yung strategy na nakuha nyo sa isang mistake, then i-make sure nyo na the following nights is magiging maayos yung tulog nyo. Kasi in sleep, dun nga nangyayari yung plasticity, yung pagka-consolidate para maging reflexive na lang yung mga natutunan nyo in the future. So now, before we move on dun sa practice portal, ito pa pala, last na pahabol ko na to guys. Basically, may nabanggit din kasi si Andrew Huberman na it doesn't matter kung anong time ng day kayo mag-practice. Basta, you must find yung time nyo throughout the day kung kailan kayo mas alert, mas focus, and kaya nyong i-tolerate yung mga errors na nagagawa nyo from your practice. So, it doesn't matter kung gabi nyo i-practice yung like, pag-overcome nyo ng mistake. Basta ma-ensure nyo na alert kayo, focus, and kaya nyo i-tolerate yung errors. So, medyo napapahaba na. Now, let's move on sa practice portal. So, sa portal na to, kung ano lang din yung pangalan niya, yun lang din yung gagawin nyo. So, basically, it's applying what you've learned into practice. Pero I would also like to add this one thing na essential para mas maging successful yung next practice nyo. And that is incorporating a system review. So, what do I mean by this? Like, system review is mahalaga to based on Simon Sinek kasi it allows you to ensure na maayos yung strategies na na-identify nyo. Like, kailangan natin i-track yung patterns if ever na like, nagpe-persist or paulit-ulit pa rin nangyayari yung mistake para ma-ensure yung lifelong positive change. So, I've constructed some questions for them, which are, eto. So, with the help of these questions, makakatulong to sa inyo para ma-adapt nyo yung strategies nyo base dun sa kinakailangan nyo sa like, current situation nyo. And you can adjust it as time goes by. So, I'm gonna give you an example kung paano ko siya na-apply sa pag-optimize ko ng sleep schedule ko. Kasi, I've told you earlier na mahalaga yung sleep to ensure that I can learn better. That's why gusto kong i-connect din yung system review. I tried to sleep at 9:15 p.m. Nung nilagay ko siya sa ownership system, trinay ko i-open yung comments para i-review ko if it still works na nakakasunod pa rin ako sa sleep schedule ko. So, unang question dun ay, does the mistake still frequently occur? If yes, what action did they do? Blah, 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 basta ganyan. So, there comes this night na I tried to sleep nung 9:15 p.m. Like, in-ensure ko na dapat nasa tuktok na ako ng higaan ko ng 9:15 p.m. Yun nga lang, nalaman ko na parang medyo nami-miss out ko pa rin yung time na yun. Kasi medyo natatagalan ako sa pag-perform nung nighttime ritual ko, which is yung pag-mouthwash, yung pag-CR, yung pag-turn on ng alarm, and pag-open ng NSDR sa tablet ko. Like, natatagalan ako para gawin lang yung mga yun. Kaya, masasabi ko na yes, the mistakes still frequently occur. So, anong actions na ginawa ko or other influences kung bakit siya nangyari? So, patuloy siyang nangyayari kasi nga, like, natatagalan nga ako sa pag-perform ng mga like, nighttime habits ko. How can I address them step by step? So, yung plan ko para ma-address yun is to actually prepare much earlier. Instead na i-perform ko yung mga nighttime habits ko, like, siguro, 15 minutes bago ako matulog. Like, I will do it much earlier. Since natutulog ako ng 9:15, gagawin ko yung mga nighttime habits ko ng 8:55. Then may isa pa ritong question na, should I seek advice from credible experts? Siyempre hindi na, pre. Kaya ko naman i-address yun. Like, this is just a minor mistake that I can resolve on my own. Second block of question ay, after I provided solutions sa problems na to, tinesting ko naman siya, like, based on my experience, nung minove ko much earlier, yung time na nagpa-prepare ako before sleep, nagagawa ko nang maging consistent. Like, nahihit ko na yung 9:15 p.m. Nasa tuktok na ako ng bed ko nun. And I can just perform my NSDR and just sleep. And So yung mga sumunod naman na questions kaya ng how can I adjust my physical and social environment, blah blah blah, na-adjust ko na siya. And yung strategy ko is to move yung preparation ko much earlier. So may mga questions dito na hindi nyo kailangan na i-force yung sarili nyo na sagutin kasi if it's just a minor mistake and it doesn't necessarily require na sagutin nyo isa-isa yung mga to, then you can just skip them, pre. Tsaka nyo lang siya hindi skip kapag, ayun nga, paulit-ulit pa rin talaga nangyayari yung mistake nyo. But there is one thing na gusto ko lang idagdag sa practice portal, and that is based dun sa expert na si Simon Sinek. So basically, ang sabi niya rito ay, throughout our journey, we need someone pre na magpo-point out ng mistakes natin. Kasi I remember this one moment sa buhay ko, like, ito sa kwarto na to, hawak ko yung tablet ko, nagsisend ako ng announcements dun sa mga classmates ko because I was an officer during that time. So I'm sending these announcements like, guys, ito yung announcement ni ma'am. Guys, ito yung announcement ni sir. Ganun, di ba, ang corny? So, send lang ako ng send ng ganun, pati yung mga projects namin, tinatamba ko sila ng mga ganun sa GC namin. And, pumasok sa isipan ko na, teka lang, what if yung mga classmates ko is marami silang aasikaso yung pag-uwi nila? Like, sila yung magbabantay ng tindahan, sila yung mag-aasikaso ng ganito, ganyan, and malahi pa tinitira nila. Paano yun? Paano nila mababalance? Paano sila magkakaroon ng time to create their own list ng activities? So, since pumasok na siya sa isipan ko, tinawanan ko lang. Kasi may tiwala ako sa mga classmates ko, kaya nila yan. Like, they don't need my support, bro. Pero, fast forward a few days, like, nag-chat sa akin yung isa sa mga, officer, na si Shanti Buenavera. And sabi niya sa akin, Oy, Charles, ano ba yung mga pinagsasend mo sa GC natin? Ang hirap kaya magdududut ng mga announcements mo. Nung nabasa ko yung chat ni Shanti, napatingin ako dun sa tablet ko, and then, na-realize ko yung pagkakamali ko. Kasi, kahit na pumasok na siya sa isipan ko, nung moment lang na binanggit siya, nung moment lang na pininpoint siya ng officer namin na si Shanti Buenavera, doon ko lang na-realize yung pagkakamali ko. And doon rin ako take steps to overcome and fix the mistake. So ganoon lang din pre. Throughout your life, like you need to have someone to point out your mistake. But how are you gonna do this pre? So another thing na I do para like mabigyan ako ng feedback ng mga classmates ko is I do unto others what I want them do unto me. So if I want them to give me feedback, I also give them honest feedback. And if gusto ko na i-deliver nila yung feedback na yon in an honest manner, respectful manner, polite manner, ang dami naman. So, ganun din yung ginagawa ko. And also, one thing rin pala na gusto kong ihabol dito, which is, if kayo yung binibigyan ng feedback, like based on my experience, kapag nakaka-receive ako ng feedback, since ako nga nagbibigay ako ng feedback sa kanila, syempre, maayos yung pagkaka-deliver ko. Pero pag ako naman naka-receive ng feedback, syempre, maayos ko rin siyang tinitake. Kaya, ganun din sa inyo, pre. Like, if ever na may ma-receive kayong feedback from someone, kung ni-real talk man kayo, if kailangan nyo talaga malaman yung real talk na yun, like, take it politely. Like, take it respectfully. Like, maayos pa rin yung pag-take nyo. Hindi nyo siya parang, wait, hindi nyo gagawa ng ganun. Like, it's all about being open-minded to consider and understand yung perspective ng ibang tao. Pero meron lang akong disclaimer. Kasi, when you give feedback, you become honest to other person. And like, nga, maganda siya. Like, maging honest ka. Sabihin mo sa kanila yung brutal truth. Ganun. Pero make sure to do it strategically. Kasi nga, I'm not sure, but possibly in our life, or baka in-overthink ko lang, like there will come this point na you have to ask yourself if worth it ba na sabihin yung katotohanan. Like as in, if it is a life or death situation,
kung saan mas malaki yung negative impact niya in the long run, nasa sayo kung paano yung magiging decision mo. But you must ensure na it's something na hindi mo ire-regret in the future. Kunyari yung struggle ko sa pagsabi ng totoo with my dad. The negative consequences may be arguments or physical fights. But I will still tell the truth because I know that it will not only benefit me, but also my father, since it will help make him realize the mistakes na ginagawa niya, which in turn will help make him a better person. And yung paggawa na to is something that I won't regret in the long run since napapractice ko yung honesty.
So now let's move on dun sa habit formation part. And it's part ng practice portal kasi I want to help you naman, hindi lang sa parang system na to, but to actually make this habit a part of your life. Para syempre magawa nyo siya anytime that you want and you can remain consistent. I want to first start dun sa advice ni David Goggins kasi I know for sure like throughout in life makakaranas tayo ng times na ayaw natin gawin yung isang habit. Like for example, I remember this one moment like dito ako sa bahay and meron akong habit tracker. Like ayun yung ginagamit ko para matrack yung mga habits na gusto kong gawin. Kunyari yung pagme-meditate, pag-journaling, yung paglalakad sa umaga. So ayun yung mga habits ko. Pero may times sa buhay ko or like nung araw na yun na parang ayaw kong gawin yung isa sa mga habit which is yung journaling. Kasi I don't find the purpose behind it. Parang waste of time lang siya. Pero kahit na natitempa ako nun or nag-struggle ako with consistency, I still stare at the habit. I opened yung parang clock ng tablet ko and I started the time. And the moment na sinart ko yung time, dun ko na ginawa yung habit kahit na ayaw ng katawan ko. Kasi isa rin doon ay like, na-realize ko na may purpose yung habit na yun. And it's not just a habit na gagawin ko. Yung main takeaway dun sa sinabi ko ay like, kahit na ayaw nyo gawin yung habit yun, do it anyways. Especially if you know na merong purpose behind it. And if wala mang purpose yung habit na yun, like, attach a purpose behind it. Like, let's say for example, gusto mong gawin tong system kasi gusto mong ma-optimize yung dating skills mo, yung business selling skills mo. Hindi mo lang sasabihin yung ganung bagay, pero syempre i-expand mo din. But knowing the purpose why you do things is something na para makakatulong para i-perform yung habit despite yung life demands, despite na marami nangyayari sa paligid and maraming excuses yung utak nyo. So yun lang naman yung point ko, like gawin nyo siyang reminder every time na you feel unmotivated. And now let's move on dun sa advice ni James Clear. So hindi ko siya masyadong hahabaan yung part ng habit formation kasi like marami ng videos sa internet ni James Clear paano gawing habit yung isang bagay, but I'm just gonna give you my experience or parang anong ginagawa ko when it comes to making this a habit. So I've utilized yung advice ni James Clear na making the habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. So sa obvious na like andito ako sa bahay, then kinuha ko yung tablet ko. Sa tablet ko na yun, doon sa home screen pa lang, like nakalagay na doon yung parang shortcut ko doon sa Google Sheets na app. Kasi doon ko nilalagay yung ownership system ko. Doon ko siya ginagawa. So, since may shortcut na, mabilis ko na siyang mabuksan and nasa home screen pa siya. So, huwag kayo maglala, bibigyan ko kayo ng template sa description ng ownership system para like ma-add nyo rin siya doon sa Google Sheet. Hindi lang yun yung ginagawa ko. Like, meron din akong habit tracker which is ganito yung itsura niya if hindi kayo aware doon. And basically, if nagagawa ko yung habit ko na ownership system, nilalagyan ko lang ng green na highlight yung habit ko na yun. And nakalagay rin to sa like home screen ko para ma-ensure ko na nabubuksan ko siya agad-agad.
So para ma-adapt nyo siya sa situation nyo, you can ask yourself, paano nyo gagawing obvious yung habit na to?
Then doon naman sa second part which is yung attractive. Like, simple lang naman sa akin to. Like, for me, the reason why this habit is attractive is because I've attached a purpose behind it, which is, mas makakagawa ako ng progress sa kung ano yung mas nagmamatter sa buhay ko if ni-utilize ko tong system na to, because I can prevent repeating the same mistakes that hinder my progress.
Ganun lang din rito, i-ask yung sarili nyo, how can you make yung habit na to attractive?
Next naman is easy. So, the way na ginawa kong easy tong habit na to is like, kinontrol ko yung frequency, kung gaano ko kadalas to ginagawa, and yung time na spend ko para gawin to. Bale, if sobrang busy ako, like for example, school stuff, like normal na lang talaga yun kapag SHS ka. So, minimake sure ko na nagagawa ko yung habit na to once a week. At least, at least. And kung gaano siya katagal, like at least 6 minutes. O, di ba sobrang baba? So, kapag sobrang busy, ganun yung ginagawa ko. And I've also parang ni-utilize ko yung voice recording na application para madali ako makakapag-record ng ito yung mga mistakes ko throughout the day. Like, first mistake, hindi ko nilapitan si crush, hindi ako naging courageful. Nawalan ako ng lakas ng loob. Second mistake, hindi naging maayos na deliver ko ng words basta ganun. Gets yun yung point, pre. So for you to define kung paano nyo magagawang madali itong habit na to, you can ask yourself, how often and long do I want to do this habit? Itong ownership system, like gaano kadalas and katagal. Then sunod nun ay, how much progress will I get from those? Kasi by knowing kung gaano karaming progress yung makukuha mo dun sa frequency and duration na sinet mo, then hindi ka magtataka kung bakit like malaki yung nagawa mong progress or mababa. Kasi nga, aware ka na kaya pala mababa yung progress ko kasi nga like I only spend 6 minutes once a week dito sa ownership system na natutunan ko. Pwede nyo namang i-adjust yung time na spend nyo, yung quality ng pag-engage nyo sa habit na to kapag hindi na kayo ganun ka-busy or like, basta, make sure to be flexible. I don't want na parang lock-in lang kayo sa isang schedule.
Pero para ma-adapt din siya sa situation nyo, idagdag ko na rin dito yung how can you make this habit easy?
And last part ng habit formation ni James Clear ay satisfying. So, ang short definition ko lang dito ay yung benefits na makakuha ko sa long term. Ayun na yung reason kung bakit siya satisfying.
But of course, don't forget to ask yourself how you can make yung habit na to satisfying para ma-adapt nyo siya sa situation nyo.
Now, tapos na tayo dun sa practice portal. And meron ka na ngayong kakayahan, pre, na matuto ng maraming lessons sa mistakes mo. But if you want to take it to the next level, then meron akong upgrade na idadagdag para dyan. And I'm gonna cover that sa next video. Pero, it still doesn't end here. Kasi itong system na to is something na pwede pa rin natin paunlarin as we go along our lives. Because based on Simon Sinek, we should view life, pre, as an infinite game. Yung game na hindi nagtatapos. We should aim for constant improvement ng system na to. Therefore, habang ginagamit mo tong system na like binigay ko sa'yo throughout your life, pwede nyo baguhin yung mga nilalaman neto, pwede nyo baguhin yung questions, pwede kayo magdagdag, magbawas, para ma-adapt nyo siya doon sa situation nyo or preferences nyo. And in addition, pwede nyo rin siyang i-share dun sa mga audience natin, dun sa comment section, or sa Discord na community ko, para magawa din natin na makapagtulong-tulungan and makapag-provide tayo ng mas better na system anuman yung sitwasyon ng fellow Pinoy natin. Which is why gumawa rin ako ng Google Forms link na makikita nyo lang sa description. And itong G-Forms na to is about kung gusto nyo mag-suggest para mapaunlad tong system na to, you can just type it down doon sa link na yun. I will also try na i-update yung mga audience ko kagaya mo doon sa changes sa system if ever meron man. And I will do it doon sa loob ng Discord community ko na nasa description if ever interested ka. So yun pre, maraming salamat sa paglalaan mo ng oras para panoorin tong video na to. Gawin mo yung magandang bagay, lalong-lalo na kapag ayaw mo.